Hello traders, good day to you all. Today it is the 12th of November 2013. My name is Tom Williams and this is a daily market analysis for the current market status. As you know, yesterday we had a very quiet day. Now the US market wasn't closed, but still a lot of brokers weren't operating, and we saw that we had a very low amount of liquidity, and especially because of that and because of what happened last week, we're expecting to see large movements today in the indices and stocks in the United States, and that will definitely express that movement on the currency world as well. Today, as you can see, we had several announcements in the morning. We know that the pound lost a lot of strength in the market. It's among the weakest currencies at the moment. The euro lost a lot of strength because of last week's announcement from the European Central Bank, but today it gained strength, and it's among the strongest currencies, and we will see that in a second on the charts. Going over the announcement that we're expecting to see later on this trading session, we can see that we don't have any announcements from the US market. That will leave the market without bouncing toward different areas. But I do want to talk about my perspective regarding the US dollar today. I want to show you a specific pattern that may deliver some potential later on this trading session. So the only announcement that we're expecting to see is for the New Zealand dollar. Again, I'm not really relying on announcements on the New Zealand too much for large movements on the charts, but still it may move the charts a bit. The most important issue is it's how the United States will open today. If we will see the DAX, the Dow Jones, the S&P 500 dropping down, we will expect to see the dollar gaining strength, but unfortunately that is not my perspective. I will talk about that in a second. But that's a great indication for us to look at indices from the United States and understand from that what is our expectation for the during tonight's session. So we don't have any important announcements at the moment, but still, let's go and analyze the charts. The US market, it's basically what all the markets are waiting for. We saw that from this morning. Generally, the European session expressed weakness, and the Asian market expressed strength. The Nikkei climbed up yesterday, and that showed that the Japanese yen, that was the expression of the Japanese yen losing strength in the market. But let's go and analyze that. It will be easier for us to complete the perspective using the logic of the US market getting into the market and the charts in terms of direction. So again, I'm going to the charts themselves. So the first thing that I'd like to talk about is the dollar index. Okay, so we've been talking about the dollar index for the last several days or even weeks. We said that a drop down from this area and the beginning of an uptrend on this field shows that the market is changing its movement. We know that there have been rumors in the market that they may, in the United States, the Federal Bank may express potential for lowering the purchase of bonds, and because of that, we can see that markets are affected, and we may see the effect on the US market as well. On Thursday, we've got a very important interview that will deliver confidence or lack of confidence, and that will change the course of the market in the current market status. But I would like to talk about this specific situation over here. We had a movement lower. We had a trend line. We've crossed the trend line last week because of the variety of announcements from Europe and from the United States. Going to a lower time frame, we can see a very interesting structure over here. In terms of Elliott wave, we're talking about a one leg higher, 2, 3, ABC. That is the fourth leg, and from this point and beyond, we're basically concentrated in a diagonal triangle. Usually a diagonal triangle appears at the end of large moves, and it implies that at the moment there's a lot of confusion in the market. The logical reaction of this diagonal will be across and close below the trend line, the bottom trend line, because it appears at the end, at the fifth leg of a large cycle. Again, we've counted the waves. We've got a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4 corrective pattern, and from this point and beyond we have an A, B, C, D, E, completing a diagonal triangle structure, and a potential of a breakdown is totally a possibility. Again, a downtrend over here will express strength in the US economy. Because of that, I'm a bit worried. At the moment, the future contracts on the Dow Jones, S&P, and NASDAQ are implying that the United States session will be open with weakness. And that's only the expression of a bit stronger dollar in the market that we had since this morning. But still, this structure is very, very it's different from my expectation from the US market at the moment. Now, generally, I do expect to see a bit of weakness on the dollar that will move the chart toward this area, and here we will have a full corrective pattern, and then we'll be able to continue higher. Again, I told you that I'm beside my investment in binary option market, I'm managing funds in the US stock market, and that's a very worrying situation because I was expecting to see weakness on the US markets, US market expressing weakness. When a diagonal is not, when a triangle is not breaking down and starting to fall down, there's a great potential for having a spike higher. So anyway, my expectation is that if we will cross this trend line, we will have a fall toward 80.4. That will be the completion of a corrective pattern, and then we'll be able to follow, that will be able to continue higher. If we will break this uptrend, then obviously we're going to break new records, which will imply that the US market will continue to express weakness beside the future contracts that we saw earlier. Let's go and talk about the Japanese yen. So we talked about the Japanese yen. We said that it lost strength. Again, it expressed strength out of a crisis, a small crisis that we had on Thursday last week. Again, the US market wasn't active, so we did not have, the markets had no leading potential. So they've just correct themselves, coming back to the same position as they were before the announcement on Friday and Thursday. Again, looking at the euro, you can see that the euro is located among the strongest currencies. The dollar is at the same perspective as well, approximately the same strength as the euro. Let's just from this potential try to make an organized perspective. What I'm going to do, I'm going to analyze the dollar in front of the euro, because both of them are at the same position. I'm not doing that to find a good trade. I'm doing that to locate the potential among the two markets, the European and the US market. So I'm opening the US euro versus the US dollar chart, and as we can see, we've indeed dropped down from this point in a 5-wave move. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. At the moment, we're forming a corrective pattern. We've got an A, a B, and a forming C. We will have a bit more uptrend toward this area, and then my expectation is that we will fall. This is why I'm saying an uptrend over here will express strength on the dollar index. Weakness on the dollar index. It shows that the dollar is losing strength, and together with all the appearance of the triangle on the dollar index and this potential, my assessment is very clear that at the moment I do expect the dollar to lose strength a bit, Maybe at the beginning of the US market session, maybe during today's session generally, and tomorrow it will regain its strength. Eventually, I'm expecting the dollar to regain its strength and to continue its movement in front of the euro as well, and obviously in front of other currencies. Let's go back to the Japanese yen, seeing the potential in terms of strength and weakness. So again, the dollar, the euro are among the strongest currencies. The Swiss franc, again, the Swiss franc and the euro are basically correcting what they did last week. Last week, the euro and the Swiss franc lost a lot of strength once the announcement from the European Central Bank came out. That was a devastating expression on both of them, and at the moment we can say that they are just correcting the same pattern that they made already. At the moment, again, they are only the strongest currencies because they've corrected the largest movement, correcting last week's movement. At the moment, I wouldn't really count on the continuance of a stronger euro or Swiss franc in the market. It's just a corrective pattern, a choppy movement. Again, I can call it a choppy movement because in front of other movements that we had, the fall down was stronger, definitely stronger than this corrective pattern. So that's a logical reaction. Dollar, euro, Swiss franc, strong currencies. The Canadian dollar is among the strong currencies as well. The pound lost a lot of strength, we said, because of the announcement. We saw that in front of many currencies, especially in front of the dollar and the euro. And the New Zealand, Australian dollar, pound, Japanese yen, all the weakest currencies. The dollar, euro, Swiss franc are the strongest. Canadian dollar is approximately in the middle, so I wouldn't really trade on that one. Any kind of expression using the weakest and the strongest currency will deliver good potential trade. If you're familiar with our 60-second strategy, you can apply that on the euro pound or the pound versus the US dollar. Go to 1 minute chart, analyze according to our strategy, and you'll be able to benefit from that specific difference between strength and weakness. Let's go to different charts and see if we've got a potential. Again, I wouldn't really use the Japanese yen at the moment as a potential trade, because we can see that generally we don't have a specific indication beside the dollar, and again I said that the dollar is under a lot of pressure at the moment. It may express weakness, and because of that won't be logical trade to participate in, although the stochastic dropped down and the RSI is in the correct position. Oh, I forgot to look at the strength and weakness of the Australian dollar. Yeah, both of them at the same perspective. That's good for us. Again, just bouncing backward and forward. Said yesterday that I'm not expecting to see a lot of movement over here because they've showed the same perspective yesterday as well. Again, remember that tonight we've got an announcement on the New Zealand that might change the course of this chart. At the moment, nothing to do over here. And beside that, all the RSI is implying that that's a difficult term to trade in terms of liquidity. All the assets we've looked at. I gave two good trades today on the euro, a call on the euro yen and a call on the euro versus the Australian dollar. Beside that, I did not encounter several potential trades. We're approaching a good potential on the dollar in front of the pound. Again, I said that the 1 minute chart will definitely show us if we've got a good probability. In this case, I would look for a bit of a downtrend on the RSI, and then I will join every downtrend movement that I can according to the 1 minute strategy. Pound Japanese yen showing good potential for additional weakness, just as it's doing on the pound versus the US dollar. I would definitely place a trend line below the corrective pattern and wait for movements on the charts before the session in the US market. When the session in the US market will begin, it will change the strength of the dollar. My expectation is that we will do that immediately, but definitely we need to wait until the expression of the US market will begin to make its move on the charts. The gold, that was a great trade as well today, and the silver, but at the moment nothing there. The euro versus the pound is spiking again, not exhausted enough over here. So generally we can say that the market is still stalling before our expectation from the US market. Again, we've got two good potential trades using the strongest currency and the weakest currencies, the pound, dollar, and euro, and that's the only thing that I can say at the moment using this logical perspective. Let's go to the indices, maybe. Oh, sorry, not the indices, the commodities. I wanted to look at the oil commodity. There we go. Okay, so the oil again is fluctuating around the 50 level, not showing a specific potential. We can see that because of the bouncing that we've got, again, usually on a logical trading session, I wouldn't bother to trade the current status. Definitely waiting for the US market to deliver its potential, and beside that, I would definitely wait for that specific expression in order for me to participate in any trade. The market is just stalling at the moment. We will have good potential trades after the US market will begin its operation. Sorry for this market's condition, but sometimes that happens. I wish you all the best with your trades, and obviously if you need assistance, you can join me through the Skype. Just send a request and I'll be able to assist you with anything that I can. Have a pleasant day, and bye bye.